Can you tell everyone your name, please?
My name's Katie Thompson.
Okay, Katie, and this is an HPV Gardasil story.
Correct.
So take us back to why you even had the first Gardasil in the first place.
Well, to be honest, I didn't even know why at the time. So it was 2008, and I was in my 20s, and just saw my gynecologist for a normal appointment. And he spoke to me about it, but I couldn't tell you how much he said.
Can you remember what sort of things he was saying to convince you?
It was, that this will prevent cancer, and, if you're sexually active, then this will just protect you from HPV and all of that. And that was, honestly, back then, that was a pretty new term. The whole idea of HPV was relatively new, or at least to me. I hadn't really heard anything. I was in my 20s. I mean, at that point, I'm working. My parents are not telling me what to expect when you go to the physician or anything like that, because I'm in my 20s. So I just went for a normal checkup and ended up getting the first shot. And it was a series of 3, as I recall. So you come back a week later for the second, and I had the second one as well. I did not do the third.
And what happened after the second?
Within a week, I started having massive headaches. So I had headaches that didn't go away, and then I would have these episodes of just severe pain that I can't even describe to you how bad the pain was, and it would wake me up at night out of a sleep. And at that time, I was a physical therapist assistant in a clinic. I started having trouble working because I was nauseated. I constantly had the headache, and it continued to get worse. So that was kind of my first signs that something was wrong, but I didn't really know what was going on. Around that time, shortly thereafter as well, the gynecologist said I was no longer ovulating. Just no longer ovulating. My 20s. Mm-hmm. So he gave me, as I recall, some hormones, and then I got back to ovulating, I think. I still have issues, but...
And how did it lead to having a brain operation?
Yeah, so I went to, because I was in the physical therapy field, I knew something was wrong. So we lived in Merced County in California, not a super great area for medical care, but we did know we needed to go see a neurologist. So I went, had an MRI done. I advocate for yourself, because if you know something's wrong, if the physician doesn't call you right away, that doesn't mean that there's not something wrong. So I ended up calling because I hadn't heard on my results, and they said, oh gosh, it just got filed. I didn't even see this. By the way, you need to go to the neurologist tomorrow. So I saw the neurologist there, and she referred me to UCSF. I saw a physician there. There was a cyst found. It's called a pineal cyst. It was found in my brain at that time. I started, their understanding is it wasn't dangerous. They thought it was stable, wasn't going to grow. So I was actually getting shots in my skull up under the dura to help with the pain, and it did help, but those eventually get to where they don't help anymore. I had moved out of California, moved to Southern Oregon. I was taking a position as a rehab director at a skilled nursing facility. Ended up not being able to do it because of my health. I was diagnosed with lupus then. It was just kind of everything hit. I went up to OHSU because my physician in Grants Pass was concerned that something was going on. So I went up to OHSU. They redid the MRI. Cyst had grown, and at that time there was a surgery that you could do to actually reach the pineal cyst. And in January of 2013, I had a surgery where they go in through the back of your head. So all this is titanium on me. They come up and drop down into your brain to access that region. When he got in there, My cyst is not actually, it wasn't up underneath the brain, it's actually attached to my brainstem, so it's still there. He drained it. My spinal fluid now flows through that to keep it open in the hopes that like it wouldn't just close up and reform. So had that surgery in January of 2013, and by that time was fully addicted to pain pills after years of being this sick, and was on oxycodone. So I went through I went through losing, like I thought I was crazy. I went through just losing everything that I had worked for, my career. My family was stressed, and then I am left today with depression that is, I've been on antidepressants. Now I cannot come off, so I'm dealing with that after already having come off oxycodone, and that was hell. That was hell coming off of it. But
you have help coming off of it. There's tissues right there.
No, I had because I was living in Southern Oregon at the time. My doctor was up in Portland. I think we told them that I obviously had an issue. When I left, they said, oxycodone is very addictive, and then they send you home with 60 oxycodone pills to someone that was already addicted to pain pills. So I pretty much just dug my heels in. God is very important to me, and Jesus is the one that rebuilt my life in all of this, because it's been so hard, and but he was able to just put together my life in such a beautiful way. Not that it hasn't been challenging, but it's been amazing to see him rebuild so much of that. But my health has been one thing that hasn't come back. And just dealing with pharmaceuticals, where the medication I'm on now, Pfizer was actually sued by their investors because they didn't understand, they were not told the dangers of this medication.
Is it the anxiety medicine?
It's Prestique that I'm on. It's antidepressant. So I'm actively looking for solutions for that, that won't put me in the hospital. So
You've had a horrible time.
It's been horrible. I think it's been the realization that when you look at timelines and when you look at the effects of Gardasil, and to realize you've been poisoned, it's an odd feeling. And I was in the healthcare field, and I worked with teenagers and things like that, and they're pushing it on these kids. My good friend called, and she said, her 11-year-old son, they wanted him to take it, and I said, don't do it. Number one, how he's 11, but to just see them continue to push it, when I'm I had to rebuild from it. I didn't know that there was a vaccine court, so now I am past being able to do anything for it unless they can change the laws, where if you didn't go to vaccine court within the amount of time, you still can come back and say, excuse me, this is not, I definitely was not told. So Gardasil, as I recall, it had come out pretty soon to when I got it. So I don't think there was a ton of information out. So
what is your advice to the great many people that come and sit on the bus or around the world listening, who are in severe pain, who are shot of some kind?
The main thing is that you're not crazy, and that you're worth someone figuring it out. And if your physician is not listening to you, and if they seem to have no clue as to what could be going on, as far as if this was an injury, then I don't think that they're worth your time. I ended up seeing a naturopath in Clark County, Washington, and she was phenomenal. She actually reads my labs. She actually talked to me about what was going on, explained things, and was just an advocate for me without just, you know, getting you riled up with like, oh, this, and I mean, just offering solutions and understanding and saying like, this is what happened. So, and just, I kept it quiet. This is the only time I've shared it really publicly, my story, and I almost backed out just because I just felt, it feels very vulnerable. I don't know why, but it feels very vulnerable.
Well, the people you're talking to are the people who understand and are potentially injured themselves. So we're grateful for you, very grateful for you. Have you heard of Gardasil girls?
No.
I'm going to connect you with them. They're great.
Okay. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Children's House of Parents is full of people that have been injured, and you should stick with us.
Okay.
We're going to help
I
you.
will.
Okay. Thank you for being
you.
so brave.
Thank you.